Hey, what's going on, Z Nation? Zaid here, ZSPN, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Lakers and the NBA Draft 2020. As we all already know this by now, the Lakers have the 28th pick in the NBA draft this year. Is scheduled to be to take place on November 18th, and there's a lot of scenarios that could go into this particular draft when it comes to what the Lakers are going to be pursuing. Now, it still remains to be seen who will they potentially draft, or either if they'll keep it or trade it, but still up in the air. And I just want to give you guys my thoughts and my opinions about the potential draftee that could potentially land with the Los Angeles Lakers with the 28th pick. So without further ado, guys, let's just get right into it. So guys, when it comes to the NBA draft this year, it's kind of sort of scrambled of how the process has happened when it comes to the NBA draft, because as we all already know this, the draft has always been in the summer around June, and it's always been that way. And most players worked out with certain teams at the combine, and just there's always been that sort of tradition of seeing how the NBA processes their new draftees when it comes to the league. But unfortunately, it's just never been that way. It's just hasn't been that way this year since COVID-19 happened, and the NBA just basically had to reschedule their timing and their scheduling of everything. They just basically changed everything. I mean, to the point that the NBA finals was taking place in October, where usually the NBA start of the season always starts. So it's always been that notion and always been that way, but now things have changed, and the NBA has done a good job by just making sure that they are up to schedule when it comes to their events that go down. But the NBA draft is really important because we get new players come in, and they are basically the new generations to come. So when it comes to this year's draft, the Lakers are in a good opportunity to go either way when it comes to what they want to do with this particular draft. They could use it, or they potentially can package a deal and grab somebody to basically improve on the NBA champs in the Los Angeles Lakers to go for another repeat in 2021. So there's that sort of aspects, and some people are saying, including reports that are saying that maybe the Lakers will basically draft someone but then immediately trade by packaging a deal with a couple of players to get certain players, like like a Derrick Rose for example, or possibly somebody who's maybe like a Buddy Hield type of scenario. So there's a lot of scenarios that the Lakers could go with when it comes to trading it. But if somehow the Lakers saying, we have good faith in the draft and with our pick, that we can basically use this particular player at certain positions, especially coming off the bench. So in that sort of scenario, the Lakers could potentially use the draft pick at their disposal to improve the team. Now, there's have been some projections. Some of them, fall into the category of where the Lakers are basically looking for, and maybe most Laker fans, including myself, really think the Lakers could look at this particular position, and that is the point guard and the shooting guard position. Now, when it comes to the power forwards and centers, I don't really think it's a huge priority for the Lakers, because they already have some forwards already on the team, and some big men on the team as well. And when it comes to free agency, it's kind of an open field when it comes to how the Lakers could go into free agency and get players like Nerlens Noel, or possibly bring back Dwight Howard, or they can just go any sort of way when it comes to improving their center position, and any sort of positions at the power forward position. They can bring back Markieff Morris, or they can go either way with how to bring some big men, power forwards, maybe small forwards at the same time when it comes to free agency. So I don't really think the Lakers should basically focus on the NBA draft on bringing in small forwards, power forwards, and centers. They can basically, look at point guards and shooting guard positions. It's not to say that the Lakers will not pursue one in free agency, but you never know. I mean, the draft this year is basically focused on the the point guards and the shooting guard positions. So, there's a couple of names that came into mind when it comes to the mock drafts that I've been seeing that kind of fits into the category of how the Lakers could use him, this particular player, if it comes off the bench wise and, surrounding potential players like LeBron James with the ability to score. Because that's where the Lakers are basically looking at when it comes to these draftees. Can they score, and also can they, play elite defense? And I believe there's one player in mind that I think it's a real long shot. I've been seeing this particular player going somewhere around the 20th pick, maybe the 22nd pick. But if somehow, he falls to the Los Angeles Lakers, which I don't really think he will, I think Josh Green from Arizona, shooting guard, and he's a wing player, so he's a shooting guard guy, could really fit well with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, Josh Green has been very well known with his elite defense, being an elite defender, and also being a good shooter as well. He doesn't really bring out some scoring ability, but the guy can shoot. He's kind of similar to a Danny Green type of player. Okay, the guy can defend and at the same time can shoot. But when it comes to scoring wise, he can give you around maybe 13 to 14 points a game. But it remains to be seen how he will develop that sort of level when it comes to the NBA level. There's been a lot of scenarios that Lakers are going to be looking at. There's a guy by the name of Trey Jones from Duke. He is a point guard, and he brings the similarity type of game style as Rajon Rondo, because we already know the background of Rajon Rondo with his, him being a free agent this year, testing the free agency market, and there's a possibility that he might not come back, but the Lakers are aggressively, trying to bring him back as well. So, if somehow if it does not happen, if you want to look for a type of replacement, by draftee standards, then Trey Jones is a potential guy that the Lakers could potentially draft. He's somewhere ranked between that, somewhere around the 25th pick to the Lakers' 28th pick as well. So Trey Jones is the guy to basically look at when it comes to the Lakers selecting him at the 28th pick. And then you have to look at some other scenarios as well. There's a couple of players that are, honorable mentions, but, I don't really think the Lakers could potentially go after these particular players. I mean, the Lakers' scoutings have been well known for drafting great players, potential steal type of players. I mean, we saw that from Kyle Kuzma. We saw it from Josh Hart. Larry Nance Jr. Sorry, I was thinking about somebody else. But those players, I mean, they were very well qualified players to the point that, they have, made a name for themselves. I mean, from Jordan Clarkson as well, from the second round picks. So the scouting team, no doubt in my mind, they know how to basically scout players to be a good asset to the team. And so far these are just names that I'm just putting out there that are in the interest for the Los Angeles Lakers when it comes to the draft. There's other players in mind. I think there's a guy by the name of Grant Riller. I don't know where he plays at, but he is projected also that could potentially, land with the Los Angeles Lakers. He is well known for his shooting ability and being averaging around 45% from the three. I believe he averaged, last time I checked, I think 23 points in his last year. I forgot what college he goes to, but I'll show you guys where he in this video where he plays at. So that's somebody to look for. He could potentially go further into the draft, somewhere around the second round. So, judging by that type of scenario, I think the Lakers may not, consider someone who is projected to go to the second round. So, there's that type of scenario. And here's just a couple of names in mind that you guys could look at. There's a guy by the name of Cassius Winston. He is from Michigan. He played, I believe, 4 years in Michigan, so he has experience playing at a higher level college-wise. And, this is what the Lakers are basically good at when it comes to bringing experienced players. For example, Kyle Kuzma. He played 2 years in Utah. And, he just shows that the Lakers want experienced players to, show their abilities when it comes to, either being a starter or potentially, coming off the bench, which we witnessed from Kyle Kuzma for the past 3 years with the Los Angeles Lakers. For his first year, averaging around 16 points a game. His second year with 18 points. Even though injuries did occur in his third year, he managed to average around 12 to 14 points a game. So last season. So experienced players, in my opinion, the Lakers need to focus on that particular scenario when it comes to that. And these are just a couple of names in mind, guys. I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions about the potential draftees that could potentially land with the Los Angeles Lakers with the 28th pick in the 2020 NBA draft. Where do you guys think the Lakers should potentially go for when it comes to that particular position? There's also a player that I think that the Lakers have a shot of potentially landing, but he is somewhere ranked around the 22nd, maybe the 23rd pick in this year's draft. His last name is Ramsey, but I think is Jahmi'us Ramsey. He is from, I believe, Texas Tech. He's been well known being mentioned potentially landing with the Los Angeles Lakers. I believe I saw maybe 2 articles of mock drafts that showed that Ramsey has a potential projection to land with the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's somebody in mind that the Lakers could potentially look at. There is potentially one more player that I can honestly say that could land with the Lakers, but he's a power forward. Like I said in the beginning, the Lakers should not really focus on that particular position, but if they think this guy can really work for them, Jalen Smith from Maryland, he has the potential of landing with the Los Angeles Lakers. He has the size, and these particular players like Ramsey and Jalen Smith has the ability to work well with LeBron James. Same goes with Josh Green, and then you have Trey Jones as well. Those particular players that the Lakers might be looking at, they're going to be looking some of these players that can fit well with not just with the Lakers, but with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's the main key goal of the scouting positions role of potentially drafting these particular players. And also Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka is also going to play a major role when it comes to either they're going to keep the draft pick or potentially trade this particular player to potentially package a deal to go for another trade, like I said in the beginning of this video. So guys, I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section down below. I mentioned a lot of names on here. I really want to know your thoughts about who these potential players that the Lakers could potentially pursue when it comes to the 28th pick. The Lakers can go any way with this. I mean, they traded the whole farm last season, 2 seasons ago when they traded for Anthony Davis. So basically they started from scratch and got a couple players here and there when they made their Plan B mode in free agency, which I still believe the Lakers could go after some free agents to fill in those particular positions. But, if you had to keep the draft pick, there's a potential scenario that they could potentially go after those particular players, like I mentioned. So the Lakers can go anyway with this. So I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section down below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and guys, thank you so much for subscribing to this channel and commenting, liking this video, and of course sharing my videos, because it just shows you guys that you guys appreciate my thoughts and opinions, and at the same time I respect your thoughts and your opinions when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, I see the comments, I interact with you guys, and it just shows that you guys are just passionate about the Los Angeles Lakers and your goals for the Lakers to succeed when it comes to a new season, with them being champions and potentially for them to go for another championship for going from back to back. You guys are just awesome. Amazing audience. I mean, you guys just killing it when it comes to commenting and sharing my videos, and of course subscribing to the channel as well. And for those of you who are viewing this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, and let's grow this channel together. I mean, this channel is just based off of thoughts and opinions, and a lot of mutual respect from each and one another when it comes to our Los Angeles Lakers and their goal to improve the team and for them to have a great success for many wins and many playoff appearances, and of course championships under our belts as well. So guys, please comment down below, like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go Lakers. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe out there.